and efficient from an investment standpoint, to take no more risk than what you need to achieve your goal, to invest the money in a way that generates the least amount of taxes, which is what this book is about, one of the efficiencies, which is to be efficient in your retirement plan. And so I have really several objectives or several things that I had wanted to achieve when I sat down to write this book. And I want to go over a couple of those with you. And the first one was that I wanted to be able to open your eyes to the possibilities of what could be done. The book starts off with a story of Frank Richardson. Frank Richardson, which by the way, all the names have been changed and some of the details, because I didn't want anybody to read my book and seeing themselves as a before example. So Frank Richardson was a real person. I did not know him because I did not get involved until after Mr. and Mrs. Richardson had passed away. But Frank Richardson was a man probably not unlike my dad, who built a business and really, going back to my car analogy, he didn't want to go to the West Coast. He was happy right in Pennsylvania because his objective was not to spend any money. But he did what he thought were the right things to do, and he focused almost all of his efforts on his business. Everything that he made, he invested back into the business, but he did a nice retirement plan. And he put money into an IRA, and he contributed to 401ks when they were available, and he had accumulated a $2.5 million IRA. Everything else was tied up in his business or in real estate. And he never did anything else, and he died. And everything, we assume, was to go to Mrs. Richardson, who didn't need it, didn't do anything with it, and then later she died. And what had ended up happening is because of penalties and taxes and things that weren't done when they should have been done, the $2.5 million shrank to less than $500,000 that went to his heirs, over $2 million in taxes that were spent. Now, what could have been done? Lots of things could have been done. What his objective was, he had his children that were working into this business, and what his objective was to pass this on. See, he probably never even planned to retire. He was just going to cut back his hours, and he was going to let the business pay him and cover. So this money that was sitting in the IRA was never intended that he was going to spend it. He didn't think that he was going to need it. And that was fine, but if you know that that's going to happen, you could have done many other things. They could have set up a family limited partnership and had some way of passing of taking huge discounts on the value of the business so that it could be passed on to his heirs or to the other children in the business through gifts each year and taking advantage of gift exclusions. He could have set up a life insurance trust and bought a life insurance policy for pennies on the dollar for what the taxes had eventually cost him, so that there would have been liquidity so that we didn't have to go to the IRA to pay the estate taxes. There were so many things that could have been done, and one of the simplest things was just to take his IRA distributions when he was 70 and a half, which he totally ignored doing, and that was a 50% penalty on the distributions that weren't taking. So there were many things that could have been done had he only thought about doing some planning and what did he want to achieve and how was he going to pass this valuable business on to his children. So the first thing that I wanted to try to achieve with this book was to open up the eyes of people to the possibilities of how these things can go wrong if you don't.